Goal would be to hit 1 million in the next 12 months.
Million in revenue or million orders?
1 million in revenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the average pair of Shezza Socks cost?
$18.95.
$18.95.
Yeah.
If you guys have blisters, go get Shezza Socks. What was Tiffany like growing up?
I was raised by two business owner parents. So my mom, she had her own barbershop. My dad, he still today has his own auto body shop in Long Beach. And growing up, I kind of always knew creating a business was for me. When I was young, I would sell guppies to all my classmates.
Fish?
Yeah, little fish to my classmates. And then the money I would get from selling my fish, I would buy ice cream after school. And I was like, dang, this is awesome. Like, I love business as like a young kid. I would do lemonade stands. I was just kind of always trying to find a way to make money on my own without having like a job. When I was younger, maybe I was 12, 13 years old, I would flip clothing and I would sell a lot of clothing online on eBay. And yeah, I just always thought that business, entrepreneurship, it was so neat that you could just create something out of nothing, pretty much out of ideas in your head.
Yeah.
I guess just growing up, I was always very adventurous. I was very curious. I was always finding problems in things and thinking of ways that things could be improved, certain processes could be improved. I loved ideas. I had like a long list of ideas in my notes of different business ideas or things that were wrong with current products, things out there. With my dad, he always pushed me outside of my comfort zone, like ever since I was really, really young, and raised me definitely like his little boy. So I just kind of grew up never, even if I was afraid of something, I would tell myself I'm not afraid. Always just like, I got my scuba diving license when I was 12 years old, got my boating license when I was also very young. I did a lot of ocean activities, things that were kind of, I snowboarded at a really young age, just very active, outdoorsy, kind of like a little boy. So, that was kind of me growing up. Love being outdoors.
What was it like growing up with entrepreneurial parents, small business owners? Because I'm sure you probably saw some really awesome stuff and probably some hard times, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of the business owner life. You always are on the clock. On weekends, you're always working. You don't just say, oh, okay, it's 5 o'clock. Okay, I'm off. Like my dad was always working on stuff, and same with my mom. So even though they had a lot of freedom and flexibility that if they needed to pick me up from school, they can leave while their employees, they're working. I saw a lot of freedom, but also they worked really, really hard. But that's kind of what you get as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So it gave you some good business principles, to prepare you for the real world when you decided to become your own business owner. Awesome. And did you get this idea? Like, how did Shezza come to be? You just one day woke up and you tell us a little bit of the story of Shezza.
Yeah. So I came up with the idea for Shezza almost 10 years ago. I was in high school. My dad asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I thought that Doc Martens were just the coolest shoe on the planet. And I was like, Dad, please, if there's anything for Christmas, please, I just want this one thing. I really want Doc Martens. That's all I want for Christmas. So I got my Christmas gift. He got me Doc Martens, and I was like beyond ecstatic to wear them to school. Then I wore them around school for one day, and I got the most painful, terrible, bloody blisters on the back of my heels. And every single time I put on these shoes, I would continue to get these heel blisters. A lot of the solutions online were to just put on 2 pairs of socks, to tough it out, put a bunch of Band-Aids all over the back of your foot. And I just thought all of those solutions were like super time consuming and like just so mediocre. So I pretty much just had those shoes in my closet and like basically wouldn't ever wear them. But I kept trying to find a way that, okay, like these shoes would go with this outfit really well, or like they're such cute shoes and they're brand new. I really want to wear them. So what I did is I thought, okay, what if there's a way that I could still wear them comfortably? What's missing basically? So I took a sewing class at my local community college when I was, I think 16, 17. And then I just kind of tested around with different gels, foams, fabrics, and I would sew them to the back of socks while in the class, and then I came up with my first prototype, and it was just like it had like a neoprene gel, which is basically like the same material as wetsuits, and so that provided like a little cushion. And I just sewed it to the back of a sock, and I never got a blister again. So that was the origin of where it started. And then, I mean, I was 17 at the time, so I didn't know how to start a business, but that was the start.
Okay, so you didn't actually pursue it right away and start growing it until how old?
Until, I would say, how old? Maybe like 22?
Okay.
23?
So this idea kind of, so to speak, sat in the closet for 5 or 6 years.
For many years. And I actually, in my entrepreneurship program at San Diego State, I actually had a different idea that I was trying to pursue, and it didn't end up working out, but the sock idea was always in the back of my mind. And even though I didn't really suffer from blisters anymore, I really only got blisters in Doc Martens, but after speaking to some people, they had the same problems. I always thought like, dang, like I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a business owner. I don't know how, I don't know what, like, but I feel like maybe this sock thing could work. And so it kind of always just sat there in the back of my mind. I wasn't really in a rush to just get started on it right away because I did a study abroad program. I was meeting people in college. I was taking classes. And so I think that it's so true. It's all about the journey, not the destination. Because if I would have started this sock company when I was 17, 18 years old, then I wouldn't have experienced all of the incredible, amazing things, met all of these incredible people that I met along the way. So
yeah, and, you probably wouldn't have had the same success or something along those lines, and it might have stayed in the closet forever.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when we kind of blew up out of nowhere, it was because of TikTok. But TikTok wasn't around like 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I think timing, like timing worked out fine.
Yeah, timing's a huge key, I think, to anything in business.
Mm-hmm.
You said that, so you went to San Diego State and you did this study abroad program. What were you studying in college? What was college life like before going into full-time business owner?
Mm-hmm. Yes. In high school, I wanted to go to a 4-year right away, but I knew it was going to be really expensive. And then I also didn't like taking tests. I took a lot of AP classes. I didn't pass the tests, and then I didn't want to take the AP tests. And for the SAT, ACT, to prep you for, getting a good score to go to a good college, I actually slept through my ACT exam for I did one and then I did really bad because I didn't study at all. And then my second time I slept through the alarm. And yeah, I was like, okay, well, maybe this thing, I don't know, it's stressing me out. I'm just going to go to a 2-year college and do my basic education there. So I went to a junior college first, and I'm really glad that I did. I saved a lot of money too, and got to live at home with my dad and save a lot of money with free rent there. Shout out dad. And then I was looking for programs that had good entrepreneurship programs. I was looking for schools that had good entrepreneurship programs. So I was looking at even schools like in Texas. They have a lot of great business programs. I was looking at UC Berkeley, but I would have just had to have spent a lot more money going to those schools and a lot more time at my junior college. So it turned out great that San Diego State actually has a lot of really great entrepreneurship programs. And I was involved in, this program called Entrepreneur Society, Women in Business, the Lab and Entrepreneurship program, the Zip Launchpad, where basically if you have a business idea, they'll help you launch it. And that's ultimately what led me to launch my business. Is they had this structure of all the steps you need to take to validate your idea, and just basically figure it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you surrounded yourself with a lot of resources and people to really help this grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. That's something that I think most people just let me do this idea and it doesn't take off right away and then they throw it away.
It's a long haul.
What were some things in those different clubs or communities? Because that's one thing I always recommend to people is either find a mentor, an individual singular person who's going to help you along the way and teach you how to get there, or a group of people, some kind of community, or I've even done it myself where I've actually just gone to work for someone, even though I always was entrepreneurial entrepreneurial minded. I went to work for someone to learn from them. What was that community and group and programs like? How are those useful to you?
Yes. Accountability. Through the Zip Launchpad at San Diego State, they put you into certain groups. You have an advisor you meet with every week to check in on your progress. So I think having that accountability is crucial, and I would not be where I am today without them structuring everything so well for me and having people that I could rely on for advice, and then also keeping me accountable. Like, oh shoot, I was supposed to do all these customer interviews. I was supposed to do 20. Okay, this is due Friday, so I need to go out and talk to people Wednesday or Thursday. So, because that's the thing, when you're your own business, when you have your own business, you're the boss, and like you can kind of do whatever you want. So yeah, I think
if you don't have the discipline, it's easy to get sidetracked.
Yeah, exactly.
Netflix or
just do whatever you want, hang out with friends. So just having that discipline and structure in place was super important. And then just also, like you said, surrounding yourself with people that have similar interests, that are also aspiring entrepreneurs, business owners, people that just want to push themselves.
Awesome. And you said you did a study abroad program. What was that like? Where was that?
Yes, that was in Spain, and I think that was probably one of the best things I've ever done for myself in my whole entire life, was doing that program. It was a 6-month program in Madrid, Spain. I went there not knowing anybody. I knew one person, but I didn't really get along with them very well. And I was like, oh, should I kind of mend this relationship just so I have a friend? Like, I'm going to be all alone out there. And I was telling my dad all my insecurities of like, oh, but like, I don't know anyone. Like, everyone already has their friend groups. And what if I don't meet anyone? He's like, Tiffany, just stop. Like, if you're a cool person, you're going to make friends and meet other cool people. Just stop.
You'll attract what you are.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, it's true. Like, I'm a cool person. I'm going to just put myself out there. So, when we would take the train to school and back, there was all the other students, and I'd hear people speaking English, and I'd go, oh, are you guys from the US? And then I would just make friends left and right. And that's ultimately what led me to make some of my best friends. And I have friends all over the world now. I have really good friends from Mexico, Poland, New York, from Amsterdam, just all over. So yeah, I think if anyone goes to the traditional route of going to a 4-year, you have to do a study abroad program. I think I traveled very cheaply too, to I think like 13 or 16 different countries during that 6 months, because everything's just so close together. Yeah, flights. I mean, one of my cheapest flights was from Madrid, Spain, to a different country.
I remember I went to Europe last year, 2023, and I forgot my laptop in Norway. And I was coming from England, in my flight round trip, I think one way each way was like $23.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was shot right
there,
which is like the spirit of Europe.
Oh yeah.
But way better.
It's great.
Yeah, it was mind blowing. I was like, wow, my taxi here costs more to the airport.
Yep. Yep.
That's incredible. So you did the study abroad program, came back to the US, and what happened after you moved back, done with college, figuring out your life? What's going on there?
Yes, that was my first year at San Diego State. I did the study abroad program right after. A lot of my friends in the program, they went to like really good schools like UC Berkeley and some other private universities, and they were all going back to the US for their summer internships. And I had never done I've done like one internship, and I just basically was like, I don't really know what I'm doing, and they were all like, doing these very professional things, and I just stayed in Europe a little bit longer, and I was like, honestly, I'm gonna kind of just stay here until I kind of really have to go home or I run out of money. So I just kind of continued to travel a little bit as much as I could, and then
you were technically, you consider yourself, right, a digital nomad for a while?
That was a couple years after I graduated college.
Okay.
Separate time. So after I did my study abroad program, I just kind of put myself into trying to do internships, working on the business idea, my other business idea that I had in the program didn't work out, so then I switched to the socks, and I was just
What
really
was the
trying to
business
figure
idea
it out.
before?
There is a company that does exactly what my business idea was. Neighbor.com. It's basically, say you have an empty garage and you're not using it. Somebody can park their car in your garage, or they can leave storage in there over summer. And then they pay you rather than paying like a storage unit.
Okay.
And so it was kind of like that, and had some other things to it, but I realized I would have had to have raised a lot of money for it to be successful. And that's also one thing. I forget who exactly says it, but sometimes it doesn't matter how fast you're rowing if you're in a boat. What matters more is what boat you're in. So the same idea is when you're starting a business. Maybe you don't have to do something crazy, outlandish, like boil the ocean water. Like, try to do something simple if you can.
Yeah, you don't have to go raise $100 million in a Series A.
Yeah.
Be this big successful founder.
Exactly. And if it's going to be easier to reach success, then do the easier thing. And you can always, if you're an entrepreneur at heart, you're always going to start other businesses in the future. So my sock idea, I was like, maybe this is like, I don't need as much money to do this, and I have a sewing machine. I can just make my own sock, start there rather than like doing this technology. And like, I was not a tech person. I actually really like physical things and tangible things you can touch or feel. So there was a lot of learning too in that first business failure.
Right. I don't think it was a failure. I think it was a learning lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So that doesn't work out. You learned from it. Now you always had this idea of Shezza in the back of your mind. Tell us how Shezza became into fruition.
It was through that entrepreneurship program where I switched my idea, and then I just started really putting in time working on it. First going... Yeah, no worries. First going through... Oh yeah, no worries. It's like literally right across the street. I can show up a little later too. But wait, sorry. What was the question? It was how did I get started?
Shezza come into fruition?
It was through the accountability through the entrepreneurship program that I was in college. I would have weekly meetings. I first was figuring out, hey, okay, what is the problem? Not even what is the solution? What's the problem that you're trying to solve? Then we'd figure out, okay, what market or what data is out there, and then what data do I need to get on my own. So then that involved talking to customers, walking around, going to the beach, and just talking to random people. Then it was validating that it was a real problem by talking to those people, by gathering the data that I had, then creating prototypes. And it was just a whole process that really launched the business, and just staying accountable. But the really big thing that validated my product, because the whole time, like, I was kind of in the dark, like, I don't know if this is gonna work out. Do people even want this? Like, some people say, oh, I get blisters, but are they really gonna pay for like a sock that's like more than like a Hanes sock you can get for like $5? Like, are they gonna want like a foam padded sock? Is the patch gonna be too hot when they go work out? And I had all these doubts in my mind.
Just be in the washer and dryer.
Exactly. Is it gonna disintegrate? I just didn't know. There were so many uncertainties. Basically pretty much moving past those. And what really validated it was one of my friends. She posts a lot on TikTok. She has a good amount of followers, and she was saying, Tiffany, I get blisters all the time in my Air Force Ones. Why don't you post this on TikTok? Like, this needs to be on TikTok. And I thought, I don't think people really care about socks on TikTok.
Yeah, it's like 12-year-olds, right?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know, like
dance videos.
Yeah, I was like, people want to see other things like cat videos, dance videos on TikTok, like socks. I just don't think it's gonna work out. But then I just kind of thought about it. Okay, I'll make a video about it. And then I had two friends send me the same video of this girl who posted a video on TikTok, like, break in my docs with me. And she had bloody blisters. She was putting cotton balls and duct tape on the back of her heels, numbing spray, like all these crazy solutions to break in her docs. And I was like, what? That's mind-blowing. And then I had already gotten prototypes from manufacturers overseas. So then I had like my little sock prototype. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to make a reaction video reacting to this girl duct taping her feet. And so then I just did a reaction video like, oh, what? No. Like, what are you doing? And then I just showed my sock, how it had the foam padding on the heel. And I just said, oh, look, you can just buy it on this website. And I just didn't think anything of it. And I did not have product. I basically just had a landing page. I had my website saying, oh, like, buy now, just seeing if anyone would buy it. And then I just posted it on TikTok, not thinking anything of it. And then I woke up in the morning to an order, like a Shopify order.
Okay.
Whereas I'd never had orders before. And I was like, wait, I'm so confused. Did my mom just buy socks? Did my dad buy socks or something? And then I just saw it was a random person. And then that's when I was like, wait, what? Like, let me check the TikTok video. And I looked and it had like, I would refresh it and it'd say like 20,000 views. And then I'd refresh it again and then it would say 25,000 views. And it, like, as I would just refresh it second by second, it was just reaching more and more people and I kept getting more orders. And it was just the coolest, I would say is probably the coolest moment that I had in my entrepreneurial journey, validating that this is something worth building, that I didn't have those doubts anymore of like, oh, is this gonna work, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was clear and plain, like, there were strangers from all over the US, the world, that wanted this, and they went on my website, my really shitty website at the time, and purchased. So from that moment, it was like, okay, I need to place an inventory order. This is gonna work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then what were the stats on that video like in the time frame, like the first 24 hours, first week? What were like rough stats?
I
What
don't.
was the virality of it like?
Right. I don't know what it was then, but now in total it's reached, I think, 800,000 views.
So the video's still up?
Yeah, the video's still up.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
On my personal TikTok.
Okay.
So, and then that gained me, I had like 0 TikTok followers at the time, and then I gained maybe like 300 from that video. Okay. So that was also a really cool thing. I didn't have any videos posted. It was just kind of like, all right, I'll just have this like social media account just kind of for fun. My friends will follow me, but yeah, it's crazy too because now I have like maybe 35,000 TikTok followers.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just something I never thought would take off on social media.
Yeah, it definitely shows the power of social media and what can be accomplished from it.
Yep.
If done the right way.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And now you guys are at what, close to 100 million social media views total between all platforms?
Exactly. Yes, through our social platforms and then working with influencers.
Wow. So their profiles, they've posted all your personal social profiles, etc. 100 million views.
Yes.
Wow. How does that feel? Going from, because this was what, in the last how many years?
Like a year and a half.
Last 36 months, you've gone from 0, nobody knows you, to 100 million people have seen your content.
Mm-hmm. It's a super unreal pinch me moment for sure, because I've always dreamed of having my own business, because having your own business means obviously you work hard. How I was saying, my parents have always worked hard, but you have freedom to basically create whatever you want, freedom of your schedule. If you're not feeling good and you want to sleep in, then you can sleep in, and I do. If like, you don't have to be the first one to open up shop, somebody else can do that, and you can have employees, and yeah, it's just an amazing, beautiful thing. And I was listening to a book the other day that said, no matter what income levels, no matter what backgrounds, what makes people the happiest is having some sense of control and freedom. Sure. So that's why I think it's amazing that people can work remotely, how I was working remotely from Panama, Colombia, Europe, and I could do my work from my laptop and still be traveling around on the weekends. It's just an amazing world we live in the technology we have.
Yeah, that's really awesome. What ballpark, how many orders have you guys done now? Plus or minus?
I don't even know.
Plus or minus, ballpark.
Maybe I would really have to double check, but maybe 20,000?
20,000 orders. Very cool.
I think so.
That's amazing. In 36 months.
Mm-hmm.
And where do you see, what's the plan with Shezza for the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months? Where do you see everything going based on your projections? Yeah.
I guess the biggest goal would be to hit 1 million in the next 12 months.
Million in revenue or million orders?
1 million in revenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And what's the average pair of Shezza socks cost?
$18.95.
$18.95.
Yeah.
If you guys have blisters, go get Shezza socks. I remember when we first met, you were telling me about this. It's funny because you thought or got the idea because of Doc Martens. I got when you told me about it, like the first thing that came to my mind was whenever I wear my red bottoms. Like there's, the sneakers, the Louboutins.
Yeah.
Those are the most uncomfortable shoes ever, and I still have scars on the back of my heels from wearing them. Because one time, like, we were leaving, like, late night in LA one time. We had to walk, like, a mile down the street. And literally, there's, like, blood through my sock.
Yeah, I believe it. And it's crazy because they're really expensive shoes, but why haven't they done anything to make these shoes comfortable? And so that's another thing. That's another problem that pisses me off. How these companies can charge so much money for these shoes and still give people pain. So eventually down the line, yeah, exactly. So that's why down the line, I also do want to expand into like really nice footwear, but also something very, very comfortable. And especially a lot of women, they wear high heels, and high heels are the worst. I rarely wear them because they're so uncomfortable. I love being comfortable. So yeah, basically that's plans for later on down the line.
So this viral video grew you guys, blew you up. What, besides that one viral video, obviously you guys focus a lot on social media content. What else has been a major key factor for you to grow and get more orders and grow the business?
Working with influencers has been really huge, and there's been like key influencers too. I mean, I've worked with maybe like 60 or 70 where we just send them product and maybe they post a video where we work with them on a paid scale, but there's always like those couple top ones that always get a lot of views, and just keeping that relationship good is so important. And just if it's working, then continue working and working with them.
I know you studied the algorithms and a lot of stuff with social media, and you have interns that work for you. What are some key things that you've focused on and have worked really well because a lot of people try influencer marketing and social media marketing, and a lot don't succeed. A lot of people send free product and they post a video, make a story post, and it goes out. What has helped you the most, or what's been the most successful strategy with influencer marketing? How do you pick these influencers? What kind of deal do you set up with them?
Yeah, I think the most important part is alignment. If I find an influencer that's just not in my niche, maybe they post like maybe food, I don't know, like they could post many different things, but maybe their focus is food, then like even if they do a little fashion, then I should not work with them. I think you should niche down on the influencers that really would use your product and their followers would also use products. So for example, like people that focus on fashion, and not only fashion but footwear fashion, post a lot of content about comfortable shoes or best shoes for this, style my outfit with these shoes. So just really niching down into specific content that's gonna resonate best with their audience. And our strategy, I kind of copied the I don't know if you've heard of Greta Van Riel. I think she's Australian. She's big in e-commerce, has had multiple different e-commerce brands that have just blown up. But on one of her videos, she says that she'll just DM influencers and say, hey, like, we'd love to send you a pair of, our product. Let us know if you're interested. Just leaving like a simple DM, and then also doing the same on email saying, hey, if you're interested, let us know. Because if they're interested, then they'll respond to you.
Yeah.
Or try again, hey, just making sure you saw my last DM or my last email. Not putting any pressure right away, and not sending like a big long paragraph. Just keep it simple, kids. Keep it simple, stupid. Then if they're interested, they respond, hey, yes, I'm interested. Or if they say, hey, I only do paid collaborations, then we kind of move the conversation like, oh, what are your rates? This, that. If they say, yeah, I'm interested, send it my way. Or if they just want to try it out, we don't really put too much pressure on it either. We'll say, oh, great, like here's a code for you to grab like 3 or 4 pairs, like so excited for you to try them. If you really like love them, like definitely share with your audience so that they can, get the love too. Or
and it's more genuine,
exactly. So it's very like low pressure, but then when they get the product, if they haven't posted a story or something, we might say, hey, like how are they? Have you tried them out yet? How is everything? So just very low pressure, and just staying on the side that, hey, we're your buddy. We're not some big brand. Like we're still small business, and we just want to grow. But yeah, so that's for gifting collaborations. And then on paid, if they only do paid stuff, then we just kind of discuss the terms with them and see if it would align well.
Have you had success with paid?
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, it's with only those few. So
that are very niche to your
yeah. Because I've had other paid ones where we paid them and then basically got like no orders, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, just making sure it's really aligned and that they also do get a lot of views or a lot of engagement on their videos is super important, because there's so many influencers that are not influencers and they just have bots, or they're in certain group chats on Facebook where they'll say, hey, posted something.
Yeah.
Exactly, engagement groups. And then like you see the whole entire comments, they're real people, they're other influencers, but they all say the same thing, like cute dress, cute dress, cute dress, nice, nice, nice. And it's so weird. So you kind of have to do
algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm like, good for them, they're if they can make a living off of it. But yeah, you just have to be really careful too.
Good advice for people for the influencer marketing space.
Mm-hmm.
One last question for you. What has been, since you've gone viral, since you guys have started picking up steam, getting orders out, I walked in, you got a big bag of orders here to go out, it looks like. What has been one of the toughest parts for you in now scaling your business, now that you have a real business and you're like, this is what I'm doing, it's making me money? What's been the hardest part?
I think in the very, very beginning, before I received the validation that it was going to work, it was mostly internal conflict in my mind. And so if, anyone that's listening to this, if they're dealing with that, know that that's so normal and you're going to constantly get kicked down, but it just matters about you getting back up and trying over again. So I'd say my mindset in the beginning, now I would say as we're scaling, just managing so many different things, juggling this, that, putting out constant fires, and it's still like a very small team as well. It's myself, I have one full-time employee here, I have about 5 interns, and I have about 5 people in the Philippines, virtual assistants in the Philippines, which is honestly really great, and it keeps costs really low, and they're very nice, kind people as well.
Yeah, with my real estate business, they are extremely amazing. And $3-5 an hour, it's unreal.
It's super unreal.
You send them any message, they're so thankful for everything, and shout out to all the virtual assistants.
Yes, exactly.
Very cool. So now Shezza is, your team's growing, you got 5 interns. How long have you guys been in this office?
Since Black Friday, so maybe like 8-9 months.
Okay, gotcha. And where were you before this? Were you just out of the garage, at home?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was at even though I had already graduated like 2 years prior, I was still using my university's incubator center until basically they were like, hey, you gotta go, like you gotta get out of here. And like they're like another startup group is coming in, like you can't just hide socks in all the drawers in the center anymore. And then I was like, okay. So then I had my one employee, she was able to pack from home, and I had some interns that were like, oh, we can pack from our house too. So it was just kind of spread out among houses. And same with some inventory I kept at my house, so just kind of spread around. So when we got this office space, it was like, wow, this was really needed. But I had saved so much money by, just doing what we could because I'm fully bootstrapped. I haven't raised any money, anything like that. So I feel definitely super proud of like all that we've been able to do. And like really awesome. You have to be very careful about where you spend your money, especially if you don't raise money. So yeah, you have to be scrappy.
$5 to an influencer and not getting anything in return is like,
yeah.
What's your plan with Shezza? If someone came along, a big footwear company or someone, and offered to give you $50 million, would you? All right, cool. I'll stay on for a year and sell, or you're like, I want to just take this thing all by myself.
Yeah, it depends on who. Yeah, long-term goal is 100% to get sold or like acquired by a big footwear brand. Depends on who that is. If I think that they're gonna just crash the company, then obviously, I want somebody who's gonna take it really big, and someone that I'd like to do business with as well. And yeah, that's the goal, to get acquired.
Is the idea patented?
Patent pending.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. we'll end on this. How's that process been for anyone that has these ideas? I mean, I know growing up for myself, I had 20 ideas written in a notebook, but I just never knew how to take that step. What's the process like in getting that patent for yourself?
Yes, it all comes back to resources and asking for help. In my program, I was able to talk to a lawyer that charged $600 an hour, but I would talk to him for free because I was a student, and he just wanted to give back. And that's also one other thing too, is give back as much as you can. If you had people that helped you, grabbed your hand, pulled you up, then do the same. But yes, I was able to talk to lawyers in my program. There's a lot of free programs that offer free lawyer help too, if you're under like a certain income limit or if you're a student, stuff like that. So just finding resources was super key in that whole process. And then if you want to do things cheaply, you can go on Upwork, and there's people from Bangladesh, India that can just do like a basic general patent, or when you're first patenting something. So there's two different patents. There's a design patent, which protects what it looks like. So basically it's like, oh, it's a sock with like a little like patch around it. But then, so that's a design patent. And then there's a utility patent where it protects what it is basically. So it's like, hey, this is a sock with a foam padding in the back of the heel to protect against blisters. So it's a little bit of a stronger patent.
That way someone could be like, well, it looks different. No, it does the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like you can just have people do like what's called like a poor man's patent. You can either do it yourself, where it's basically like you have 1 year from the time you publicly put your product like out there, like on a website. Yeah, exactly. And then you just have 1 year to do like a poor man's patent. So I think hiring somebody from overseas is totally fine for that quick patent, and that's going to cost like less than $2,000 probably to do all the filing. Actually much less than that. And then when you file your official utility patent down the line, that's going to cost a lot more money. So
and you're working on the utility patent pending?
I already submitted that one.
Congrats.
So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah,
it's a long process, but
the valuation goes up once you get that.
Yeah. And then you have to defend it too. Like you can't do nothing about it actually, otherwise they can take it, which is kind of a crazy thing. So, but yeah, I mean, it's all a part of what you got to do.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate your time, having us here. Last thing before we head off is if someone's watching this, they're in a similar situation, they're facing adversity, all the odds are stacked against them. They're struggling to get this idea out. Maybe they talk to people are shutting them down. They're facing rejection. What advice would you give someone just getting started out?
Right. Well, I think it's so important to make sure that you have a business that is going to succeed. So in building a product or service that people want. So I think talking to customers or potential customers and just constantly talking to people. If you have a really good idea, I think it's like some people are like, oh, I don't know if I should share this. No, you should be out there talking to people and getting constant feedback, because usually you're the one that has the most passion towards it versus other people that are like, oh, that's a good idea. All right. Who am I meeting for dinner? Oh, I need to hang out with friends, So I think getting that validation, and if you're not getting a good response, or people are like, no, I'd never pay for that, this or that, and it's a constant thing, then you probably need to pivot, or you need to go down a different route or figure something else out. But if you're getting a lot of good feedback, you've validated, yes, people want this, people are like, okay, where can I buy this? And you've gotten a really good response, then yes, build the hell out of that business. So I think that is really, really crucial. And just rejection is a part of the process. Getting kicked down a bunch, it's gonna happen, and it makes you a really strong and resilient person. So I think just not getting down about certain things, being like, okay, that was a lesson that I learned from, okay, that didn't work out, so I'm gonna try something different. So having a really strong positive growth mindset is gonna take you so far.
Very cool. And where can all the viewers right now find you and find Shezza on social?
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, Shezza Socks, Shezza Socks, and then you can find my personal channel at Tiffany Scarlett.
Perfect. And last question, and then we're gonna sign off. Who is someone that you know that has a really awesome story that's inspired you that we should get on the podcast?
I have a friend that was on Shark Tank. But she doesn't live here. She lives in Atlanta, and she's really nice. All right, amazing. Yeah, I have a couple of friends that have been on Shark Tank, and could definitely connect you with them.
All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Thank you, Tiffany, and shout out Shezza. You guys, I'll put the link down below for you guys to purchase if you're interested, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you guys.